and welcome to Ask Bonnie. This is something we do every week on Web Waste where we pick a topic, answer your question on that topic, and hopefully you're so much smarter for it that you put us in your will. All right, so the topic this week is bowling. Let's get into the first question, and it is from Frank in Fort Collins, Colorado, and he asks, when did bowling begin? This is a good question because there's not a lot of bowling historians out there. But from the research I did on the good old web, I found out that bowling went back quite a ways. In fact, it was first noted by most historians in 3200 BC, but a lot of bowling historians argue with that number and say that it really didn't establish itself as a sport until it came to Germany in 300 AD. So that's when bowling began. Not too sure when the goofy shirts popped up, but that's when the actual sport started. All right, so the second question is from Al in Alberta, Canada, and he asks, was bowling ever outlawed? Well, you wouldn't think so, because bowling's such a mundane sport. I mean, it can get pretty exciting, but usually there's no bowling riots that occur, and there's no bowling slap frenzy fights in the alleys. But apparently bowling was outlawed very briefly in England way back in 1366, and it was outlawed by King Edward III, and he didn't want any of his troops bowling, so he outlawed it so they would concentrate on their archery lessons. So I guess it was a matter of national security and war, and in those cases you can't have bowling. In fact, I don't even know why we have bowling today when there's times of war, because you know most soldiers rather go bowling than go into foreign countries and kill people. I know I would rather bowl, but that's just me. All right, last question is from Pat in Penn Hills, Pennsylvania, and she asks, if I want to be a hip bowler, where do I go for pointers? Very good question, because you just don't want to jump into the sport not knowing what to wear, how to talk, how to behave. So what you probably want to do is go to your local bowling alley on league night and hang out for a while, watch the hipsters. Most people that are there are a little bit, shall we say, older than the Gen X trendy crowd, but they do know how to bowl and they do know how to show off their bowling league shirts. But if you really want to be an avant-garde bowler, someone who's really on the fringe, then go ahead to your video store and rent The Big Lebowski. In fact, I'd buy a copy and just watch it over and over and over again until you have the entire movie memorized, because chances are the more you watch those bowling scenes in the movie, the more you'll be really hip to the show or hip to the bowl. Or see, I don't even know bowling lingo. I'm going to have to go rent it now. But you should check it out, because it's probably one of the best movies ever made. But that aside, it's got some of the greatest bowling scenes ever made. So go rent that movie, mimic what goes on, except for the kidnapping and the drinking part of the movie, and just focus on the bowling, and you'll be there, Pat. Don't worry. You'll be the hip bowler of Pennsylvania, at least. All right, so that's it for Ask Bonnie for this week. Go ahead and email me if you have any questions or suggestions, and also if you just want to say hey, or if you want to start a bowling league with me, I'm all for it, because, you know, I own my own shoes.